What's up, everybody? Scott Ferguson here, getting ready to go out for another dive. We're joined today with Brian, one of our subscribers, doing a subscriber dive. Get excited! Yeah. So then we got the same old crew here. These old guys from last time.
Young bucks. I'm the old one.
Nai and Jonah. So we're hoping to get out there and get some fish today on another undisclosed location. So some of you know where it is still. But yeah, we'll be out and we'll see you out there. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Brian from Austin, Texas, but now Hawaii is our home.
Nice. So what brought you here to spear with us today?
Fish. My wife loves fish, so I got to get her some fish. I'm tired of paying the $20 a pound at Costco.
Nice. Good. So we put it in a slightly different location this time, and as soon as we were able to get away from shore, started to see a lot of fish. Always a good sign. I'm pretty sure everybody saw this uhu as soon as we got away from shore. The uhu was still nearby here, so we dove down. I took a drop and tried to get into position to get a shot. As soon as I got down, I started calling, knocking on rocks, trying to coax the uhu to get a little bit closer, and Nai got a sniper shot from midway in the water column. Anyone that's ever shot an uhu before knows how easy they can tear off, and that was the same case here. While they have a lot of meat on them, they're very fragile. And even though the spear was very well placed in this particular fish, it still managed to tear off. And so luckily it was incapacitated enough that we were able to use a 3-prong, finish the job, and get the fish onto our buoy that we had.
Oh, nice work, guys. They tear off so easy.
We weren't even in the water 5 minutes and we got this giant uhu, so we were pretty stoked to see what the rest of the day was going to bring. I checked out this big hole. There wasn't anything in it. Sometimes these holes can hold big fish. You can have big aluas, which are giant fish that we've shown photos of in the past. Those guys will hang out in these dark holes during the day and come out and hunt during the night and early morning hours into the evening. Unfortunately, there was nothing going on in this case though. They're still super fun to dive around though. So you can get down in there and see some cool fish and oftentimes get an eel to come say hi to you. So I think this was Brian's first time actually trying to spearfish. So he stuck with the 3-prong for the majority of the day. I think he took a couple of shots with either Nai's or Jonah's spear gun. But he's still trying to work out how to most effectively get into position and sneak up onto fish. We talked a little bit after the dive about keeping your chin tucked in as you dive down. So as soon as you duck dive, the best way to stay hydrodynamic is to keep that chin tucked in. So instead of looking where you're going, you actually need to do the opposite. Keep your chin tucked in and look straight out across. So even if we're going this direction, I'm looking straight across at you right now. So what that does is it allows the water to flow over you more effectively and requires less energy from you to get down to the bottom. I'm still working on that. I've been at this for almost a year now, but it is one thing that I'm cognizant of. As soon as I do my duck dive, keep my chin tucked in, and when I'm equalizing, I'm holding my nose with my arm into my side so my elbow's not all flared out like this. So this is all stuff that comes with practice and you have to actually think about it, and a lot of it's not intuitive. So we chatted with Brian a little bit about that after the dive, and we're hoping he's able to come back out with us again. So I was able to locate some moo while I was on the surface, dove down, got into position as best I could, and tried to coax these guys in a little bit closer. As we talked about, they're very notorious for being very shy. And in this particular terrain, I had to be careful too because I didn't want to disrupt the coral as much as I could. I was trying to avoid breaking off any of the coral pieces. So I got down there and kind of hung out for a little bit and tried to bring him in closer. I ended up taking a shot, but it was too far out of range. I just upgraded my gun by adding a reel, aim right reel to my spear gun. So that added a little bit more weight, which then lowered some of the recoil from the shot. So I was anxious to see if I could at least reach out and poke the fish from a little bit further distance, but I ended up missing here. It's always better to have a clean miss than to injure the fish or have it tear off. So I was at least pleased that it was a clean miss. That's all she wrote. Still in pursuit of these moos. All the moos. We're trying to get to all the moos. I dove down and got onto this sandbar. I'd seen some veke hanging around down there as well. So got down into the sand, threw up some sand to try to bring them in. But in typical fashion for me, nobody was really interested, at least on this first dive. But if you wait and see, it gets a little bit more interesting. After I was able to get back to the surface, I recovered here, and I noticed veke. I had taken over the spot in the sand where I had been making a bunch of ruckus. So I was pretty stoked to get back down there. I also saw that the moo had returned, and I was ready to give it another shot. I figured, well, in this case, there's more than one target down there, so hopefully I don't scare them all away by trying to get directly down on top of where I was before. So I took the drop. As I rolled out of my dive, the veke were hanging out right in front of me. I could also see the moo in the background, and I waited just for a little bit to see if I could get them to come in. But they were just out of my effective range. I knew I could get the shot on the veke and make it effective. So I went ahead and took the shot and ended up grabbing a veke for dinner that night. Having the reel attached is a game changer. It's really good both for making the shot a little bit more accurate due to having less recoil, but it also allowed me to play the fish from the surface. So the water depths here again aren't that deep. I'm probably about 35 feet on this particular dive, which is pretty deep for me. But in this case, it allowed me to hold on to my gun, even though the fish had wrapped my line around some rocks and coral. Usually I would have had to release my gun and go to the surface to get air, and the fish would have continued to fight and tangle up the line. But because I had a reel, I was able to bring the gun to the surface, play out some line, hold tension on the line, and the fish actually helped me untangle itself from the coral. So then I was able to bring the fish to the surface. You'll hear the fish kind of like hollering at me here. It almost sounds like a cat or something. It's kind of like angry that I shot him, and you'll hear him kind of making weird noises. They have loads of meat on them. They're very difficult to hit from distance because they're this torpedo shape, a real cylindrical almost type of fish. So they're tough to hit from distance, but if you can get a beat on them, there's loads of meat on them, and they're excellent on the grill. So you grill them up with some oil, keep them moist, and then you can just pick the meat right off the bones. Big chunks. One of the nice things about this dive is that Nye actually had a GoPro on, so we got some footage from him as well to kind of get some of his perspective. Some of his earlier dives, I mean, obviously the first dive of the day was awesome. We were able to get a big uhu out of that. His aim is exceptional. He just upgraded his gun to a roller, so I think that improved the accuracy of his gun, and then also he's got a reel on board as well, so much lower recoil. The recoil got lowered even further when he converted his gun to a roller gun. So there's other videos online you can check out to see the difference between a roller and a non-roller type of spear gun. But they're really nice to have. Here you can see him playing hide and go seek with the alaihi, and he ends up getting the kill. Not only was Nye successful in getting the first fish and the biggest fish of the day, but he also got a second uhu. that we were able to give away to Brian for coming with us on the dive today. This is pretty awesome because he gets into position and the fish swims right at him and he's able to get the shot. So after getting several fish on the board, I was able to start checking out some of these caves. In this case, he was armed with his roller gun still, which is a little bit overkill. You got to be careful when you're hunting caves with spear guns because you launch your shaft into the hole, and a lot of times it'll get lost. Get your shaft lost in the hole, so that's never a good thing. So he came back and rearmed with a 3-prong, and after seeing some mampachi hanging out in some of these holes, he came down and took some of those home with him. So now I was able to spot a couple papio towards the end of the day and got in position, let these guys kind of hang out, get used to them being there, and then got a great shot on them. These guys can actually get pretty big. The papio's minimum size requirement to take them is 10 inches. So you need to make sure that you've got a pretty good idea that they're close to a foot long before you make the kill on these. Because we want them to grow and continue to get bigger. So the Division of Land and Natural Resources has set a 10-inch minimum size for these fish. Now I did an excellent job being patient here and waiting for the papio to get within range. All in all, it was another excellent day. Spearfishing has introduced me to many people. I know Nye through working at the university, but Nye actually came to my office because he saw that I spearfished on Instagram. So I've met all of these guys that you see in these videos through spearfishing, with the exception of Brian Applequist, who's in the first spear video that I shared with you. We actually worked together at the university. So it's been a great sport. It's introduced me to a lot of new things. It's put me out of my comfort zone many times. I am feeling much more comfortable in the water. It's been a blast being able to learn about the fish species that we harvest, learn about their ways, learn how to promote their species survival. And it's just fun to get fish, meet new people, and share those experiences with other folks. As I'm sitting here editing this footage, Hurricane Douglas is gone just north of our island. We lucked out. We pretty much have another normal day in Hilo. It's been overcast with a bit of a breeze this afternoon. No rain. So everybody else on the other islands, we'll be praying for you guys. Hopefully the hurricane stays to the north of you. It doesn't make a direct hit anywhere. There's not too much flooding going around. Needless to say, we were not in the water this week. We'll hopefully be back and dive in next week. The next video will probably be going through what's in my dive bag, along with Nye's and Jonah's, if we can get a hold of all three of us together. And so we'll cover sort of what we bring out diving. That should give you some insights on how we progress with as far as what we take out when we go on a dive trip. We'll also have a video on our top 5 fish that we target with the 3-prong. And you can see some of those fish that we got today. In today's video, we shot some mampachi. Nye and Jonah were able to get some success with the 3-prong, and they usually bring the 3-prong on most trips. So we'll have a video around for that here in the next couple of weeks. Thanks again for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure you smash the like button and smash the subscribe button so we can keep growing this community. We were lucky enough to go diving with Brian, who's a subscriber to our channel here. So as we get closer to 100, we'll be doing a giveaway. Once we get to 100 subscribers, we'll do a gear giveaway, and then of course we'll do that at 500 and then again at 1,000. We'll keep doing that on major increments as we get this community growing up a little bit more. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit the like button if you like this type of content, and look forward to seeing you guys in the future.